Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am both extremely nervous and super excited for today's video. I am posting my portion of the Authortube story collab. So if you don't know what that is, this is basically where me and some of my best friends here on Authortube are writing a story together. It's kind of like that game, remember when you were little and you were in school and you would have to tell a story and you could only, and you had to popcorn over to other people and they pick it up and, say a couple sentences and move on. That's essentially what we're doing, only we're more structured. We're going off of the Save the Cat beat sheet and we're each taking one beat and writing a small section. It's supposed to be like, I think 250 to 500 words. Mine was a lot longer than that. Just because I have the catalyst and I feel like the catalyst needed a little bit more than 500 words, and really there's no end to it. You just write until you feel like your beat is completed, and that's what I did. So even if you've seen the other videos, I still recommend going back and rewatching them so that way you can refamiliarize yourself with the story and then come back here and watch mine. You are going to be starting with Rayleigh Bradshaw, moving to Rebecca Rodriguez, Peggy Spencer, and now me. So I will link all of their channels down below so that way you can go watch everybody. And I'll put a timestamp here so that way if you are coming back from another video, you can just jump right to the story section. I hope you enjoy it. I'm really nervous. But yes, I hope you enjoy my catalyst.
Des awoke in a panic. Even without opening his eyes, he could tell it was well afternoon by the brightness of the sun through the window. For the past 2 weeks, he had been meeting the prince at 8 a.m. sharp. It wasn't like him to sleep so late. He fought to open his eyes, hoping the prince would not be too upset he missed their lesson. His right eye opened, but his left refused to budge. It was then the pain hit him. His eyes struggled to focus, and the smell of stale urine burned his nostrils. He looked around the room, realizing he was not at home in his bed. He was sitting on the cold concrete floor of Hugo's only jail cell. He started to stand, but lost his balance and fell back to the floor, unable to put weight on his right leg. His entire body ached as if one of the horses had trampled him. His heart beat faster, and his hands felt clammy. He looked around the small jail with equal parts confusion and fear. What is going on? He thought to himself. He had no memory of any accident, yet it was obvious he was injured. Why would he be sitting in a jail and not at Doc's office? He tried to stand again, this time being mindful not to put too much weight on his busted leg. He felt the tenderness in his side. He looked down to lift his shirt, intending to assess his wounds, when he saw he was covered in blood. He lifted his shirt frantically, trying to find the source of the bleeding. There was bruising all over his stomach and side, but he didn't see any cuts. He touched his shirt, noticing that the blood was old. It had dried and crusted, sticking to his flannel. Nothing made sense. He jumped when the door flew open. It wasn't like Des to be so jumpy. It also wasn't like Des to wake up in a jail cell covered in blood with no clear reason for it. He let out a sigh of relief when he saw Sheriff Carr walk in. "Sheriff! Oh, am I happy to see you. I don't know what's going on. I think I need a doctor, but—" "Shut up, boy!" the sheriff yelled, his pie face turning red. Des took a step back, confused by the hostility he saw in Sheriff Carr's face. He'd always been kind to Des. He'd never given him reason not to be. Des tended to keep to himself and never caused trouble. Heck, he'd never even been stopped for jaywalking. "I don't understand," Des said with a shaky voice. I don't know why I'm here," he tried again. In 2 short strides, the sheriff was at the bars of the jail, his face as red as a tomato. He spit as he spoke, this time low. "I said to shut up, boy. I don't want to hear anything more from you. You speak in again, and I'll get old Billy to come back here and tune you up again." He took a step back from the cell, his eyes cold with fury. "You'll get the chair for what you did. You got my word on that." He turned around and stalked back out the door, leaving Des shaking. "The chair?" he said aloud. He raked his hand through his hair. He looked down and saw they too were covered in dried blood. But where was the blood coming from? It made no sense. He'd been beaten by Billy, the only other sheriff in town. Billy was as big as a damn horse, so at least that explained the extent of his injuries. But it did not explain why they had hurt him to begin with. Something didn't add up. He tried to remember everything that could have happened before he woke up in jail, but it was all a blur. "Think, Des," he said to himself. He tried to think back to the last thing he remembered. He sat back down and closed his eyes tight. It all came in little flashes like one of those picture shows they had in Fort Townsend. He'd been wanting to take Eugenia there, but it was 27 cents a ticket. He'd hoped after teaching the prince to wrangle horses he would have enough to take her. He jumped to his feet, forgetting the pain until it surged through his leg. The prince! He grasped the bars of the cell, trying to hold on to the memory before it slipped away. He was with the prince. When was that? Wednesday morning. He looked around trying to see something with the date on it. He saw the local paper on the sheriff's desk. It was hard to read the letters from his cell. He squinted hard. It was faint, but he was pretty sure he saw the letters F-R-I. Friday. So what happened from Wednesday when he was with the prince and Friday? Think, he told himself again, trying to focus. What happened after you were at the stables with the prince? Another image came to his mind. He remembered seeing the prince talking to someone as he was leaving the stables. Who? It was almost as if the memory was there, but just out of his grasp. He saw the prince standing at the edge of the stables in a deep conversation with someone. He was taller than whoever he was speaking to. The prince threw back his head, laughing at something the mysterious person had said. That was when he saw her face. It was Eugenia. Something about that made hot bile rise to his throat. The room was spinning. The next images were coming back faster now. He was in a field. The air was hot and thick. He heard screaming. Who was it? It was a male voice. The prince? No, the prince was gone. Everyone was gone. Everyone but Eugenia. She laid in the blood-soaked grass, her beautiful hair spilled out around her. She wasn't breathing. He reached down to touch her face. That's when he realized the screaming was coming from him. The memory faded away, and as it did, Des vomited on the floor.
Was it? I know. I feel like I need to tell Rayleigh I'm so sorry. I killed her darling. This was so much fun. Really enjoyed it. I had this idea basically from the beginning when I read the first, couple of sections of where I was gonna go. But the fun thing is that you really have to put the pieces together to figure out how you are going to fit your genre into this. I think I forgot to mention in the beginning that the whole point is that you're also writing in your genre. So if you're a fantasy writer, you're supposed to add fantasy elements to our story. If you're a mystery writer, you write mystery, which I don't know what I write, but in this one I decided to write a mystery. Originally it was really dark and a lot more gory. I am going to I'll put a link down below to my website if you want to see the original version that was even more twisted and dark. You can go read that on my website, but I do want to give a very special shout out to the lovely Evie from Evie Redding, because I sent this section out to her when I first wrote it, and she really helped me decide that, one, YouTube probably wouldn't appreciate the goriness that I originally wrote. And then also was just there to read both drafts and help me figure out, where I could improve it, especially this coming out into the world, and when you're picking up a story that's different than the one you're used to. It's good to have that second pair of eyes. I mean, it's always better to have a second pair of eyes when you're writing anything. So thank you so much, Evie. I really appreciate all your feedback. You are amazing. And then, of course, to everybody that has come before and will be coming after me with this story, I'm so excited to see what you do. I really hope that we get some dragons and maybe some time travel. I don't know, because we're going anywhere we want with this, right? It's not supposed to be like the perfect story that's going to be published. It's supposed to be wild and crazy. And I'm really excited to see how everybody else's genres will fit into this. I thank you so much for your time watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do. Now go write some words and read a book, and I will catch you guys later.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my mom. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to your mom.